Shalom. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash, and double honors to the other apostles of the Great Millstone that have taught us this truth, and to include the other bishops of Connecticut, and overall to you brothers out there, Shalom, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Barakatham, to all of you brothers. And once again, it's your brother, Laban. And I just want to just give a brief take on this monkey outbreak, which the media is now declaring. And of course, I've watched the elder Apostle Tahar speaking on this just a little bit. I didn't watch the whole video, but I've watched some of it. And you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of two films that came out years ago. One that I recently saw, which was starring Cillian Murphy. This guy over here, which he played on a series called Peaky Blinders, which basically shows you how these devils were living during the time of the 1800s, the Victorian days. Some of them could be jigs, right? Here and there. And I have to say, I mean, this guy, he's pretty much of a good actor. In my opinion. So he started this film 28 days later, and this film literally goes into how you had locked up in the cage monkeys that came out the cages because they unlocked them cages, and the monkeys came out of there and bit the people, and the people had a particular virus, and they became monsters themselves, infecting other people with the same virus. And then you had this other film, which I didn't really see. I might have seen it somehow, some way, but this film came out in '95, starring, not starring. I don't really know who was the star of this film, but they've made these films again for a particular reason, to use a technique such as predictive programming to give you the idea of what the future will be, or what crises would come. All right. And so as the scriptures reads in the book of 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And I want to look up two words, and we're going to look up the word advantage, which is pleonectico or teos, plenecticos, something like that.
Strong's G 4122, pleonecteo. Pleonecteo.
Pleonecteo, which means to have more or greater part or share, to be superior, excel, surpass, have an advantage. And I would rather go with that. We have a superior advantage over the devices. Let's look up this word devices now, which is noima.
Strong's G 3540, naima. Naima.
Yeah, so to properly put it, we have a superior advantage over the purposes and the plans, the thoughts, the ideas of the higher powers that be, which are on the left-hand side. And when I say the left-hand side, I mean on the evil side. Because these devils have an evil agenda against the world, and for the most part against our people, the Israelites. So when you learn this truth and you come, because you've came back to the Lord himself in the spirit of repentance, you learn this wisdom and this understanding, which is through understanding the Bible. And once you understand the Bible, now you have the superior view of things. But if you don't have this knowledge, then guess what? You'll be consumed by his devices. Okay, he'll be able to easily manipulate you using the mainstream media and various tools of manipulation. Ephesians chapter 6, and we will read verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole arm of the Most High, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. What are the word wiles? The word wiles is Mephidia or Mephidiah. just in case if I'm
Strong's
wrong.
G 3180. Methodia. Methodia.
Which they have here: cunning arts, deceit, craft, and trickery. And that's what they are: tricks, just to simply put it. So, again, this truth gives you the ability to stand up against these tricks. You want to talk about from psychological operation to psychological operation. You'll be able to oversee these things and then see why he's doing it. Because there's other prophecies that are going to come to pass that these devils are going to bring on the left-hand side, on the Lord's left-hand side, which is the evil side. All right? So that's the benefit of learning this truth. Once again, that's why this truth is going to be so precious as the days get evil. All right? For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, and against spiritual wickedness in high places. And you know what? This life in general is just mental anyway. And for the most part, spiritual. So if you're more consciously aware mentally and spiritually, once again, you have a greater advantage of the powers that be in the word. And what the word does is it very well helps with that greatly. And this is something that is essentially needed right now. All right? There's so many other things that you may think you want or need, but the thing that you want and need at the same time, all in conjunction, which is more important than anything on this earth, is knowing your Lord, knowing your power from on high. And that is to tap into the scriptures. All right? Once you tap into the scriptures, is the more you'll be able to overcome what's being had on this earth right now, especially where it concerns the wiles of the devil. Okay? Let's get into this over here. A new variant found in wild Brazilian bats. The discovery of a furin cleavage site suggests a mutation which helps this variant adapt to humans in naturally occurring. So they chose the most ugliest looking bat ever, just so they can, again, psychologically have an effect on you to get you scared, to get you on your tippy toes, and so that eventually when it's time for you to go get another V, or let's just say a car Starmer jab, you're gonna go and line up and go get that Starmer jab. Or if you're in America, you're gonna get that Trump or Nero 47 jab. Because look how ugly these creatures look. This is the same playbook that used 5 years ago. Speaking about how this variant that was floating around on us came from bats. Now it's gonna come from this bat here. One of the most ugliest looking bats you've ever seen. And bats don't even look like this. Not that I know of anyway. All right. And by the sound of my voice, I might sound a bit on the angry side, but I'm not angry. I'm just passionate. And so we should okay what these devils are doing, because what we expect is another world to come. And before that world comes, this world has to come crashing apart, which these devils are doing by purpose, because they believe that they can reform the world in a technocratic kind of way. And in that way, they can bring in a more of an authoritarian, totalitarianistic world to where we're all slaves to a whole nother extent. All right. And from a biblical standpoint, Esau can get his birthright back. That's the whole reason why Esau is doing these things. All right. Bringing these crises here, psychological operations there. Psalms 141 and verse 9. Keep me from the snares which they have laid for me, and the gin of the workers of iniquity. Again, if you know the word, you'll see the snares that these devils have laid. Now let's look up this word snare, which is basically a trap, which is from the Hebrew word pach. I like biblical usage number 2 of calamities, plot, source, agent of calamity, right? because they want to bring you to calamity. They want to bring you to an end. And when I say you, I'm talking about our people, the tribes, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, and all those people that may look like the other nations that descend back to these people through your father's side. They're trying to take you out. All right. Why are they trying to take you out? Because the kind of hatred that runs through these people's veins goes all the way back to Esau. And the people that are ruling over Jacob right now are the descendants of Edom, which you can also call Esau, because they're angry at the fact that Jacob supplanted them of their blessing. Or we supplanted them of their blessing, if you will, because we're the descendants of our fathers, right? So our father is Jacob, their father is Esau. So that's why that anger is going to be expressed. Now, they don't know that, of course, consciously, but subconsciously, that hatred is going to be expressed. But you know who's going to overcome at the very end? The good will overcome in the end, as well as these JOO wishes, which they're Edomites any doggone way. They've made these films starring the good guy. He gets his ass whooped in the middle of the film. In the film, the middle of the film, he gets his ass whooped, and then at the last part of the film, he overcomes the ass whooping. So these devils, they know that even that still good overcomes. So as the saying goes, right, art imitates life. In real life, the same is going to apply. Good is going to overcome in the end. It always does anyway. All right. So those that descend back to Jacob, which we believe that we do through faith, because this is a faith-based thing. And by faith, we believe in Yahweh Shai. Through Yahweh Shai, we're going to overcome the evil one. Psalms 37 and verse 12 now. The wicked plotteth against the just. Who are the just? The Israelites, which descend back to Jacob again, and gnashing upon him with his teeth. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. And the wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and the needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bowels shall be broken. Absolutely. So what's going to happen is these devils are going to come down having great wrath upon us. That energy is going to be sent right back to the asses. And the Lord is going to provide safety for his people that believe in him, in Jacob, in Israel. Okay? That's going to be the main thing, is that in these trying times, there will be deliverance. And deliverance is going to come to those that hearkened unto the Lord's counsel in Jacob, in Israel. And when I say Israel, I'm talking about you Israelites out there, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. We're the real Israel that the Bible speaks about. All right, just to mention. So we hearken unto the words of the Lord, then we'll overcome this devil spiritually and physically. Again, this is why we got to consent unto these words. And with that, I close, and I want to give all of the praise and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah HaKodash. And Lord willing, this was edifying. Shalom.